Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the TFL Podcast. We are here for Week 17 of the NFL season. I know all you redrafters out there have been gearing up for your championship week. And here we are, though, for the rest of us who couldn't quite manage to get into our finals. I think I'm a perpetual semi-finalist when it comes to redraft. I'm here to play DFS because this is where the money is made and where the fun is had. Yes. So it's good to be back. It's been a few weeks now since I've jumped on, and look, I caught the stream last week, Arch. It was fun.
Good.
It was interesting. I would highly recommend people just watch this week's.
Well, it would kind of be outdated advice, Rowan. So
that's right. You don't need to go back and watch.
That's not. I take that as not a slight on me. That you just want people to listen to the current week's advice. Thank you.
Exactly. That's right. It's great to see everyone in the chat. Brad Bolt, good evening. It is fantastic to have you on board. If you are watching on YouTube, firstly, apologies for my flickering camera. I don't know what's going on with that tonight, but that's just the way live streaming goes. But hey, if you're watching us
camera last week, Rowan.
Yeah. If you're watching us on YouTube, though, hey, like and subscribe. Give us a bump up in the algorithm. Really appreciate that. So do that now. Hit the bell so be notified for when we do go live, which is Thursday nights. And, check us out. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at the TFL Podcast. Apple Podcasts giving us 5-star reviews. You can review us on Spotify as well. So we're everywhere, of course. So check us all out. Of course, we're partnering up with Draftstars, where we play DFS here in Australia. You can join Draftstars at bit.ly/joindraftstars. And, of course, this week, every week, we have our TFL contest, bit.ly/TFL Week 17, where you can find our $5 single entry contest. Yes. It's a great way to get into DFS here in Australia. So
and
jump on board. That's it. Patreon is back, of course, as well. If you want access to a fantastic DFS Slate spreadsheet, then sign up. It's cheap. It's $5 a month, guys. It's nothing. So it includes salaries, projections, value metrics, route data, Vegas totals, and new to the last probably couple of months now is Archer's rostership percentage projections, and it is a very useful tool to gain some leverage on the field. Of course, it's been fun so far this year, but we are going into the end of it. We got 2 more weeks, people, of regular season games. And of course, what that means is that we need to be picky about the kinds of games that we attack. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that this week. But hey, let's just talk Christmas for a bit, Arch. I have nothing to talk about, but you had a good day.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone, and thank you for the mini win, Draftstars. So that was good. First main slate win for the year for me. Few close finishes along the way, but it's finally nice to get over the line. And it was a nice overfield contest in the end. I was expecting things to be underfield, Rowan, but
yeah,
I think they almost doubled the amount of entries. They didn't need to cut the
micro
prize pool.
Look, I don't know. I would have much appreciated a micro, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's back this week. That's right.
Back this week, so
that's what I'm here for.
No, it was good. I felt a little bit bad as I, wasn't that keen on Gardner Minshew on midstream, and that's the guy who won me the mini.
Sure did.
Thought process there, Rowan, is obviously as you talk about things as salaries release, you start getting more information close to the slate. Information we got was a lot of weather-related stuff, and so I chose then to focus in on, all right, there's only 2 games played in a dome. All right, I'm going to put, most of my entries running through the dome because that's where the offenses hopefully will be more open. Didn't like Dak, and so I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to swallow the Minshew pill, and wasn't I happy?
Yeah, it turned out really well. That's for sure. Well, we're about to jump into this week's slate, but before we preface it, I think the important thing is to kind of think about where are these teams at? Who's playing for something? Who's playing for playoffs? Who's playing for an opportunity at the number 1 seed, for example? So when we go through these games, it's not always going to simply be here about the highest total. It's going to be the teams that we think actually have something to play for. So when we're looking at teams like Minnesota and Green Bay, well, these guys have an opportunity to clinch playoffs, clinch their division, stuff like that. If we're talking about Kansas City, they have a shot still at the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Bills are the other team that are fighting for that one. So these guys need wins. Like they're still out there competing, and they're going to want to make sure that they're playing their best guys. So we want to focus in on these teams. The teams that have less to play for are the teams that we will probably avoid and step back from, even if they are great offenses. So that's probably where we're heading here, and that's why we're going to start looking at the teams that we are looking at. So as we jump in, Arch, I think it's... Oh, yes, Brad, of course. Following our advice will definitely win you millions of dollars. Hashtag, Spruik. So, anyway.
Not
are you
that
ready,
there's
Arch?
any $1 million prize pools available to us.
No, there's no million here.
We ready? Hopefully, we actually have some music this time. So here we go. Oh yeah, is it on? It's Week's event team preview. Yeah.
Alrighty, here we go. We have got our first matchup that we're going to look at here is Minnesota at Green Bay. So let's quickly talk playoff picture here for both of these teams. We have got the Vikings who have clinched the division. They are first in the NFC North. Now, no one has clinched the number 1 seed yet. Okay, so the Eagles are 13-2, Vikings are 12-3. There is a possibility here for the Vikings to still take that number 1 seed if the Eagles go through the next 2 weeks losing both. So, look,
man, do we
Vikings,
need that bye?
Yeah, they do. The Vikings are going to want this. They're going to want this for sure, and especially against Green Bay, the Packers, who are also in the hunt. They are on the bubble. So there's still a shot for Green Bay to potentially make playoffs here. And you know Aaron Rodgers, he's a prideful guy, so he's going to want to fight for something. Now, there's something, though, to be said, and that is the injury report. The injury report for the Packers, particularly. Last week we saw Christian Watson leave early, and you saw that kind of the mouthing on the sidelines, like, that's it, I'm done. So it's going to be interesting to see here. He didn't practice, all right? Aaron Rodgers did not practice. Who else we got? Aaron Jones was limited in practice. So there are guys on this Green Bay team that need to get healthy if we're going to see a competitive game here. So, but let's assume that they do, and let's assume that Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing. Because if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play in this game, then essentially I'll save you analysis and boring talk here. It's Dalvin Cook, and you play Dalvin Cook, and that's really it. But if Aaron Rodgers is in the game, then that allows you to stack. It allows you to get different in this. Minnesota, the last 5 weeks, in terms of their expected points added per play, they're 6th in the pass EPA per play. They're 30th in the rush, so they've got some work to do there, but they're 12th overall. So 3rd in explosive pass percentage in the last 5 weeks. They're 9th in pass rate over expectation. So this Minnesota team is a team that you want to attack their passing core, really. Defensively, over the last 5 weeks, 24th in defending the pass in terms of expected points added per play. 12th in terms of rush, so they're better at defending the rush, and they're 22nd overall. They 23rd, though, interestingly, in defending explosive pass percentage. So I'm looking here, in short, we want to attack Minnesota through the air. That's where you want to attack their defense. Green Bay, in terms of the last 5 weeks, their offensive EPA per play has been great. They're 5th overall. They're 9th in the pass and 3rd in the rush, which is really interesting considering how they like to play. They like to play on the ground. They're the 20th in pass rate over expectation. They're 25th in pass percentage, but they are 9th in explosive pass percentage. So they like those big plays, and we've seen Christian Watson do that. He's been the guy to do that. So the other thing, though, defensively, Green Bay suck against the rush. They are just woeful. They are 32nd in defending rushing expected points added per play. They are 31st in defending explosive rushes, and they are giving up the fewest pass yards per game. Basically, this is a run funnel defense. So the obvious play here is if Rodgers is healthy, stack Rodgers. Rodgers is there at $12,520, and you bring it back with Dalvin. That's the basic thing. That's a really, really basic thing. Look, I'm going to pull up the prices here on our screen. Apologies to everyone who's waiting for that. If you're on YouTube.
Ron, do you worry that Aaron Rodgers just doesn't have the ceiling this year? Like, has he got any games above 20 points?
The answer to that, Arch, is essentially no. It's ugly. It's an ugly, like what we've seen here. 19.
Are we expecting this game to be the one that gets him there?
The reason you stack Rodgers is because you think that the Minnesota pass defense is bad enough to warrant it. That's where this is going. But the other thing, though, I think we have to take into consideration how Green Bay like to play and whether they're actually going to change that. When they like to run first, they like to pass they pass efficiently, but not as much as other teams. The 20th in pass rate over expectation, the 25th in total pass percentage. So you're really looking here for big plays. Can they get some guys getting big plays? Now, if Christian Watson's not playing, then I'm looking at Lazard. Lazard's there at 10,680. Let's go to the wide receivers here. So Lazard 10,680, but he hasn't two times that for quite some time, not since early parts of the year. But that was before Christian Watson came around. So Christian Watson being out, if he is out, Alan Lazard is the play. You kind of go there, not because of history, it's because of, it's the matchup that calls for it. Lazard really is a close your eyes and click type.
I mean, at least last week we saw it, 90% of routes run and a 0.31 target per route run. So at least it seemed to be involved, just didn't really capitalize on those opportunities.
No, that's right. Christian Watson, I'm really just I'd love to play him if he's healthy. I'd be including him in some stacks or just some mini correlations. But the news is really doubtful on Christian Watson, so we have to be aware of that. The next guy, though, that I will kind of go to is Romeo Doubs. Yeah. But again, who knows where he's at after his injury history and stuff like that. But he's come back and he's been involved. And we saw what he could do early on in the year, where he had a couple of nice touchdown games and decent yardage games. So Romeo Doubs is a guy here that I can attack this off as well. So that's kind of where it's at. Like, Doubs has come back for a 17% target share. It's solid enough for a guy priced at 6K. That's fine. Yeah. But the tricky thing about playing Green Bay, like I said, is their pass rate so low. And does the matchup change this? Possibly. Now, I actually think the best way to leverage this game is to play A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon, has had a really solid month for a guy who's priced at sub 12K. I think we're looking at a guy here that, even with Aaron Jones in the side, was performing decently enough. Now, if Aaron Jones doesn't get through this week, like we said, he didn't practice today, then A.J. Dillon's the guy. A.J. Dillon is the clear beneficiary of all those running back touches, and this is a run-first team. So A.J. Dillon will be, I think, rostered a lot by me if we see Aaron Jones not make the field. But I understand. And this is the thing. And this is the thing we always have to weigh up. The way that Green Bay's playing best is on the ground, but the way that Minnesota are defending best is also on the ground. So you've got to kind of weigh that up here in terms of how this is going to go. And also, as well, if Green Bay are going to be playing from behind, if you think that's going to be the case, then you have to weigh that up as well. But A.J. Dillon, I think, is a solid usage play if Aaron Jones doesn't make the field. If both of them end up playing, then I'll have a hard time choosing either of them. Probably Aaron Jones for the hopefully a few receptions in there. That's how I'd probably play that. But Dalvin Cook. Let's flip to the other side on terms of Minnesota. Minnesota are passing a lot. They're not rushing as much. But Dalvin Cook is the guy that you would expect to potentially eat here against this woeful rush defense. And we saw 2 weeks ago against Indianapolis where he went for 95 yards on the ground, 95 yards through the air, a touchdown through the air. This guy was just getting fed against the Colts and didn't quite do it against the Giants last week, which is surprising. But I think if there's anyone who's going to have a massive game, I think it's Dalvin Cook. So Dalvin Cook's the guy that I like the most out of this game as well. So it's a tough one, though, for Minnesota in terms of their passing attack. I can't trust Kirk Cousins here. Kirk Cousins coming up, yes, he's been really solid. But I don't think they'll need to push it that hard if there's injuries. And like I said, Green Bay are over the last 5 weeks, letting up the least amount of pass yards per game to teams. So I have to take that into account. Kirk Cousins will not be a stack choice of mine, but you might like this. You might like this considering the over-under here of being one of the highest ones on the slate. Justin Jefferson, he's $90,790. He is playing at his ceiling. I just don't think he can do much better than what he's doing because what he's doing is so damn good. You really have to think, okay, what am I going to get out of him, and what are the cheap plays that I can go to in order to make this happen? Well, JJ, I don't know. Like, he's JJ. Like, I don't know, Arch, how much of JJ are you going to get to this week?
Yeah, look, to me, this is at Green Bay is what concerns me. If it was at home, I'd be all over this like a rash. But nah. Jefferson, I might put little spot pieces just because, look, Kirk doesn't need to get there for Jefferson to actually be productive. And like when you're talking about almost a 20K guy here, you might not get your 2x value, but you don't need to. As those pure points of 30 plus is going to help you win a lineup if you hit in the other places. So you're getting points regardless. I'm going to sprinkle him in, but I'm going to be lower on him. I'm projecting in my model 17% ownership still at that salary.
Wow. Okay.
Because it's like you look at the game environments on the slate, and Jefferson just scores points. So he's still going to be popular even at that price.
Yeah. No, fair call. I can't see myself going to Thielen. I can't see myself going to Osborne. Yes, Osborne had a miraculous game against the Colts.
But not at Green Bay.
They're just not going to need to go to him against, anyway. So, look, I'm just going to see this game and play it this way. If Rodgers is healthy and Watson is healthy, then I'm going to do a Rodgers, Watson, Dobbs stack and bring it back with Dalvin. And we didn't talk about TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson is turning into a king.
Yes, that was part of my mini lineup, that one.
For sure. 13 receptions, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Whether he's going to repeat that or not, I think not.
He won't.
I think not.
Just on Rodgers, just bringing up Matt Schneidman, just had tweeted out earlier in the day that he asked Rodgers whether he's concerned his knee injury will hold him out, and he says, no, I'm not worried. It was a veteran rest day today. So
good stuff.
I think we can be pretty safe with Rodgers.
Yeah. No, that's good. I'm happy to play a Rodgers stack to attack that Minnesota pass defense, particularly because of the explosive passes that they're allowing. However, if not, I'll happily play just Dalvin, but maybe a Dalvin Dobbs. Little correlation there. Just because Dobbs is 6K. That's really it. It. So that's how I'm looking at this game. Let's move on to another one. One that, once again, it's, do I really like this game? Do I really like the teams involved? Anyway, but Chicago at Detroit. And Arch, you're going to talk to us about this one.
Oh, no, I was listening to another podcast earlier today, and they were like, when you're drafting for your best ball lineups, thinking about the last couple of weeks of the season, did you really think that a Detroit-Chicago game was going to be so relevant? Oh, my goodness. This is the highest game total on the slate, 52.5 at present, with Detroit the highest team total on the slate at 29. I mean, the reason is Detroit at home are averaging over 60 points a game. Like, it just happens time and time again. We can't ignore it. So, potentially still bet the overs. Like, come on. So, it's an interesting game. Just the teams alone make it you scratch your head, but it's going to be super popular. There's a lot of pieces that people like. Let's just have a look at Detroit. Why are we excited about Detroit? That's a good question. I would have asked myself, a couple months ago. But now I know. They are first in pass EPA per play and third in total EPA per play. Like, they are scoring points. And they're facing a Chicago defense at 29th and 32nd, respectively, in those categories. So talk about a mismatch this week. Detroit are fourth in points per game. Chicago are 31st in giving up points per game. So, again, huge mismatch there. Detroit are second in drive success as well. They're just going down the field and scoring. And so when that happens to a team, we get fantasy points. So have a look at that. The Chicago side isn't really what gets us excited here. This isn't what's going to think, oh, yeah, real back and forth type game this week. But the reason it might be is Detroit's defense are just giving up stuff. Like, they are 30th in total and pass EPA per play defensively. They're 32nd in explosive pass percentage, 28th in drive success percentage. Opposing teams gaining first downs on almost 39% of pass attempts. They are just giving it up. And so, of course, their offense has to then drive and be successful just to win these games. And they're winning these games, Rowan. And so if they're giving it up, just to, we can have faith that Goff and co are actually going to do all right. So with that in mind, how are we actually going to play this game, Rowan? Well, to me, it's clearly on the Detroit side. They are playing for playoffs. Chicago are playing for nothing. But they're still rolling out fields. I'll get to that in a little bit. That's more perplexing to me. But Detroit, like when we look at on the Detroit side, Goff, he's only 12.5K. And this is a slate where there's not actually a whole bunch of quarterbacks to choose from that really get you excited this week. Like Mahomes, Hurts, maybe if he's up. And
he plays home really well, Jared Goff.
Oh, absolutely. So you're almost banking in 25 points at 12.5K. Thank you very much. I'll move on to my next piece, and I don't have to think about it. So potentially is your cash game quarterback of the week as well with that value. So really like Goff this week. So who are we going to pair him with? Again, for Goff to get there, we're looking at 300 yards and 2 to 3 touchdowns you need. So that has to come from at least 2 pieces. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's alpha dog territory, has had 3 lean weeks. But I'm still projecting a 15 to 20% ownership. 15 Ks. You're not spending too much when you're pairing him with Goff, so you feel like he's the clear number 1 guy. And you look at the game environment. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're pretty confident pairing with. Your next guy, DJ Chark. Hasn't he come back nicely since injury? So last week, 80% route participation. He's the clear number 2. Clear number 2.
Definitely, easily.
Yeah, and he's sub 10K. So to me, even if you want to fade Amon-Ra just because he's going to be popular, you go DJ Chark and someone else. Just to get, what if 3 touchdowns go elsewhere? And you can really get a leg up on the competition. So DJ Chark's second in team target share, as we said. Team is first in pass EPA per play, remember. So, and the huge mismatch is there, especially in the explosive pass percentage. Chark has an ADOT of 14.1 yards over the last 5 weeks. So he's the guy that I think could rip Chicago's secondary to shreds. So don't mind a bit of Shark. Thanks, Ron, for a few extra stats that I stole off you from later in the run sheet.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. Look, let's look at so they're your first 2 pieces, but we all know you win GPPs by finding the roughies, and in these big game totals, touchdowns can go in all sorts of directions. So last week we saw Shane Zylstra at tight end show a little bit of magic, 25.6 points. He's still 5K because he's do you still trust your Detroit tight ends? Absolutely not. But at 5K with that ceiling outcome, you're going to, be very happily rolling him into your stacks. Maybe even go onslaught here and add him on top of Chark and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, you're looking at low-priced pieces where you can fill your rest of your lineup pretty nicely. Last week, Zylstra ran 50% of routes and had 0.27 targets per route run. So that is good production. So if he can get on the field even more after last week, I think Goff will be looking in his direction. The only other piece really that I'd probably look at is Josh Reynolds. Very similar usage to Zylstra, and at 57% route participation. But again, we're starting to get a little bit thin. Didn't earn that many targets, and as you can see, 5.1 Draftstars points last week doesn't get you there. But 6Ks, they're 2 punt plays that definitely could. You want to sprinkle into your micro entries. The only other thing, before you interrupt, going back to Zylstra, with that performance, normally if they stay 5K, you're going to command a lot of ownership, Rowan. But I just wonder if this game environment, the clear bring back that people are going to want to bring is Komet, right?
Yeah.
Do you trust any other Chicago piece?
None.
So to me, I think that keeps Zylstra's ownership down and might actually be a nice little leverage play. And with, could be wrong. He could come out at 20% owned, but 5K, what do you lose? So
not much. No, I'm happy to be on chalk when it's like super cheap. Super cheap chalk is fine. It's when it's really expensive and lots of ways for it to go wrong that I'm not so fine with it.
Yeah. If it goes wrong, you lost 5K.
It's true, but you've missed the leverage. That's usually this one, yes, in terms of the cheap one. But you got something to say about Fields?
No, not there yet, mate. Not there.
Not there yet?
I was just going to talk about running backs before we jump onto Fields.
Yes. My apologies.
No, that's fine. Look, I don't know about you, but I'm not that excited about the running backs either, though, in this game. We probably could have skipped them.
It's Jamal Williams for me. DeAndre Swift's price is exorbitant for something that he's never done this year. Yeah. That's really
and we're looking at Jamal Williams even still. He's losing work to Justin Jackson now, who's, what have I got here? Jamal Williams only 24% snap share, and I think Justin Jackson was 21 or something like that. So even though they're super cheap, it's not the Jamal Williams of the first, half of the season where we could almost bank in a touchdown or two.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm pretty much just avoiding the running backs.
No, good call.
All right, on the other side, Chicago, they're in a weird spot. They're nothing to play for. So now, Rowan, we can move along. Do you want to hit it for us?
Do you want me to hit it?
I thought
this is new? Me hitting things?
I thought you were.
No, I mean, I'll just... Yeah, here we go. Let's go now.
Yeah.
Declare bankruptcy!
Look, Justin Fields is our fate of the week this week, Rowan. I don't know how I feel about this, but yes, he is in the game of the round, arguably, with the highest points total, yet I'm fading him. I'm not happy with him. Look, we're looking at a banged-up Fields. He is, shoulders hanging by a thread. His recent foot injury, he can barely run. Yet Eberflus is refusing to sit him for the year, so he's out there. But he's 14.6K, Rowan. I'm not spending that much money on someone who is not, I would say 60% Fields. We saw last week, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy had Fields only carry the ball 7 times for 11 yards. That's what I'm worried about. When I look at Fields, I'm expecting designed runs, scrambles for big yard totals. Like, that's where he scores. That's not going to happen this week. Heck, Eberflus could even just be lying out his ass, but we'll pull him halfway through the game, or not even run him, and it'll just be a healthy scratch. Not a healthy scratch at the start of the game. So, look, I'm off of Fields this week. Bears have nothing to play. There's no real... Why would you risk your franchise guy who's made the leap this year? Get him healthy for next year. I'm fading him. Bears, sit him, please.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you, Arch. I agree. This is not the week to play Fields. Next week will not be the week to play Fields either. Let's be honest. The Bears need to start thinking about 2023 right now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Why would you want to make your... do they own... Maybe they don't own their first round pick. I should look that up. But, surely there's no benefit in you winning games. So why would you try? Might as well rest your stars. See what you got for next year. Like I said, only other pieces. Komet is the only piece I'm touching, really, if I want to force a bring back. I probably don't want to play too many bring backs here. Running backs, we saw some running backs, feast last week. Carolina feasted on Detroit's defense on the ground. I just don't see that happening this week. I don't think it'll go, unless, Herbert wasn't around, but Herbert's just jumped straight back into a 41% snap share. So that both ceilings are limited here, and so I think it's a bit of a thin play. So I'm not keen unless you've got a differing opinion there.
No, not really. No.
All right, let's talk about stacks, Ron. Can we stack the game? Look, I'm going to go Goff, obviously, if you listen to anything we said. I'll pair him with Amon-Ra St. Brown and then with Zylstra or Chark. I'll probably mix them. Maybe some lineups I'll have all 4 of those pieces. And then I'll probably, flip between having a no bring back for 2 lineups, and then every third one I might throw a Komet in.
Sure.
Sort of that's sort of how I'm thinking of playing this game.
No, understandable. I think
Reynolds might make an appearance for one.
Yeah, I just love that Goff Reynolds from the Rams days kind of type story. But yeah, no, it's cute. It's cute. Anyway, let's move on. Now, the next game that we're talking about, really, we're simply talking about this game because look at that implied, like the line there is ridiculous. Kansas City are 12-point favorites over Denver, and because of that, I don't care about Denver. You shouldn't care about Denver. No one should care about Denver because Denver's just a hot pile of garbage at the moment. It's just anyway. Like in terms of like their offense, they are 29th overall in offensive EPA per play, 28th in the pass EPA per play, 20th in rush EPA per play. Like it's just not good. It's just bad.
But Rowan,
it's just,
what happens in the AFL is new coach week. They get up and get a win.
I don't care. No, don't talk to me about new coach week. Hackett sucks. Russell Wilson sucks. Everyone sucks. Like Denver, 31st. Their offense is 31st in giving up pressure. Like let's onslaught this game with the Kansas City defense. That's how I'm looking at this game. So, if I'm looking at this game, I've got Mahomes and I've got Kelsey. All right, they're expensive. They're just so expensive. But if both of these guys can, go off, which hey, we've seen Kelsey do before.
Yes.
Look at that, nice 38.5. Then this is a game, sure. Like, I don't know what to say about this game, to be honest, other than you play these guys in the hope that they just
They hit their ceilings. Yeah.
Stomp Denver. Like, this is where you're looking for it. And so, Mahomes, 16K. He could go off for 5 touchdowns through the air. Like, it's not unheard of. But we'll get to this in a second. I'm not sure if they will. So Kelsey's there. He's the clear number 1 target. Denver are giving up the 4th most adjusted fantasy points to tight ends. So we've seen him double this salary before. So I'm not against Kelsey at all. I think the stack is quite nice. Look, three touchdowns to Kelsey is not unheard of. Thing is, okay, so McCole Hardman's not coming back off of IR. He's 6K. He would be 6K. So we're looking at this gaggle of Juju Smith-Schuster at 11,870. MVS at 7,060. Tony is back at 6K. Sky Moore, actually don't mind Sky Moore here if they get up and want to play their rookie at 6K. So, but I'm just saying you got to double stack at your own risk. But if a Mahomes Kelsey stack with a Sky Moore attached, I don't know, I feel like that could work because you might see Mahomes and Kelsey just dominate for a half, rack up points, and then Sky Moore is the guy that eats because they rest all their starters. So you're double stacking at your own risk here. You really are. There's no bringbacks. I mean, maybe Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
Maybe. But he's 10K still. It's 10,800. And who knows if Russell Wilson's even going to, throw the ball that much. So, anyway, I'm looking at this going, if I'm going to stack it to Mahomes Kelsey, I might throw Sky Moore on the end. But I think the place you play this game is in the running backs. I think it's McKinnon, who's 12,110, and he's shown us that he can score. Last 3 weeks, very, very solid. And he's also receiving the ball. Those 2 weeks he went off against Houston and Denver. 8 receptions, 7 receptions. Big receiving totals. So if you're going to play Mahomes, stack with McKinnon. Like, you almost have to. Like, I'm looking at this going, Kelsey's number 1 target, McKinnon's number 2. So Mahomes, Kelsey, and McKinnon is a great way to go. Now, here's the other thing. What's the game script going to do here? How big are the Chiefs going to go up such that they don't need to pass the ball for a whole half? Who knows? Well, I actually really like Pacheco. Pacheco's sitting here at $9,150. And he's actually getting touches. He's getting opportunities. I think it's around 17 opportunities a game for the last last month and a bit since Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's gone down. He's getting a reception every now and then as well. If he turns into the guy to just punch it in, then Pacheco could be the guy that really goes off against this Denver offense. So when you often have this implied total, it often is going to be the case. We're going to see Kansas City go up here. If they don't, I'd be shocked. The Denver defense that we were really high on, in the early parts of the year for the most of the year, well, actually, they've gone down to the last 5 weeks. They're now 21st overall in terms of EPA per play allowed. Like they are going down. So and people like to run on them now. They're 8th in pass percentage allowed. So I'm looking here. I'm going, Pacheco's probably the guy that I really like to attack this game. I'm avoiding the stack. And so because of that, I think this is kind of where I'm going to be playing a lot of this game. It's going to be through Pacheco on the ground because I think the Chiefs get up. And if that's the way you think this game's going to go as well, then that's how I'd recommend you play the game. It's through Pacheco more than anyone else. But, yeah, bring it back with Judy if you really want. I can't see myself buying into anyone else on the Broncos side. Look, if you think there's a chance, go for it. But I just don't think the value is even there enough to be jumping onto Judy and Sutton and those guys anyway. So anyway, stack at your risk, But look, Pacheco's my favorite play out of this game.
Yep.
Anything you want to say, Arch?
No. It's to me, it's all of the secondary pieces you need to try to get right, which is annoying when it comes to Kansas City games, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty. Well, let's move on to see our position by position plays as we think about the other ways to get a little bit crazy here. Any good quarterbacks you like? Any of those top end guys, Arch, that you're happy with, or that we need to add on to who we've talked about? Or you're happy with who we talked about?
No, well, that's it. It's you look at when you're looking at the best players, the primo guys, like who. This isn't a slate for them. It's Mahomes, and then who do you like? Like I've already said, Fields is our bust of the week. Jalen Hurts probably doesn't play this week. If he does, I'll be all over it.
Oh yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, like you said, are they going to be keen to play them? How hard is that game going to be against Houston? So no, I'm probably happy to let's look at some values.
Sure. The values here, Mike White's coming back, which I think is fantastic. He's questionable here, so hopefully that scares some people off. We saw what he could do. In terms of total offense, they were going at 430 yards, I think, in terms of total offense when he was on the field, when he was playing. Zach Wilson is garbage. What we saw in terms of the betting when Mike White was announced as the starter is that the line went from Seattle being favored by 1.5 points to the Jets being favored by 2.5. That's a 4-point swing.
That's amazing.
Mike White adds something to this offense. Something good. Really, he just plays the game. He's not looking for something
Derek
stupid.
Carr next year or something like that.
Oh gosh, Derek Carr. Let's not get onto Derek Carr. Mike White. Look, Seattle are 30th in expected points added per play allowed in the last 5 weeks, and they are giving up the 6th most total yards per game. I'm a big fan of Mike White and Garrett Wilson here. That's a nice little stack. I'm really a big fan. For someone that's only just 11,000, it's great. But of course, if Hurts doesn't play, Hurts, in my mind, shouldn't play. I don't think the Saints are a threat. Now, the reason they would want to win, two things. One is they want to really wrap up the number 1 seed. Totally understand that. That's going to be great. The thing is, though, Minshew showed last week against Dallas that he can make this offense move. They put up 34 points last week against Dallas. So, yeah, I'm not sure why you'd play Hurts, but Minshew's sitting there at 8K, and so if Hurts gets put on the bench again, then I'm all for a Gardner. Give me the Gardner, wherever he may be on my list here, but 8K for Gardner Minshew, and it makes AJ Brown stack really nice. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of those values this week. Let's talk running backs. And running backs, look, before I talk about one of these guys up top, I'm going to be fading a lot of these guys up top. I'm not going to be playing Josh Jacobs against San Francisco, especially with Derek Carr and them. Essentially, the Raiders just threw up their hands today and just said, we're just going to think about the future, and anyone that was really good this year is irrelevant now to us. So Jacobs I'm not playing. No one should play him. DeAndre Swift against Chicago looks nice, but I'm not playing him. Kamara against Philly, he has just... Yes, last week he came into something. And so Kamara, I don't mind. I don't mind because Philly's rush defense has been poor. Has not been a phenomenal part of their game. So I'm not opposed to playing Kamara this week. It's probably the first week I might actually actively play Kamara in a long time. Saquon Barkley, though, is a guy I really like. He's coming into a great spot of usage.
Still so cheap.
He's still super cheap. I love it. Colts are faltering. Giants should win. Barkley should be a big part of that. in terms of game script, love it. In terms of his opportunities, big fan. 8 receptions last week against Minnesota. It's what I like to see. I think we could see a 2-touchdown game here for Saquon Barkley this week. So I'm a big fan of him. But let's get to our play of the week.
Show me the money!
Christian McCaffrey is our play of the week, and it might seem really, really obvious, but this is a guy who is the offense. Since Brock Purdy has come into the team, they have relied on him, both through the air and on the ground. They're coming up against the Raiders, one of the most woeful defenses going around. In fact, Las Vegas are currently sitting at, in terms of EPA per play totally, they are 26th. They're 26th. They are, and they have given up. They want to see what the young guys do this week. And so with San Francisco still having opportunity to take their division and top seedage in the NFC, you're going to see this team just pummel Las Vegas. And who's the guy that's going to do that? It's Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, book him for like 3 touchdowns this week, because seriously, this guy is on just an absolute usage train. It's crazy. So against Las Vegas, who have given up, you play Christian McCaffrey for, what is it? $16,260. Wonderful. Premium play of the week. And you can play Austin Eckler too. Austin Eckler is, a receiving god against the Rams. The Chargers want to make sure that they get actually the Chargers, do the Chargers have anything to play for this week? Because have they clinched? Let's have a look here. The Chargers have clinched playoffs. They're not winning the West.
No.
I think we see Austin Eckler get rested this week.
You hope so.
I think there's a couple of weeks of rest here for the Chargers. Yeah, actually, yeah. Anyway, Christian McCaffrey, though, is the play. Let's play Christian McCaffrey this week.
Not bad.
Oh,
want to talk some value?
Yeah. Who have you got?
Look, Travis Etienne to me was the one that jumped out. 13K here.
Yeah, fair call.
Houston are just 29th in adjusted fantasy points given up to running backs. He had 22 carries last week, so that is some nice volume. Just 14.2 last week, disappointed, but with those 22 carries, like that's your floor. Throwing a touchdown or whatever, against Houston. We've been targeting Houston for running backs all season long, and so, I think we can still do that. I don't know, Ron. You might need to help me out here with some values. Cam Akers?
Yeah, I like Cam Akers. Give me Cam Akers.
Oh, it's the week that Kyron Williams, takes over, for some reason.
It's true. But the Chargers are just giving it up on the ground, and the Rams last week, they just monstered Denver. They're like, sweet, let's have fun. And Cam Akers, I think, is the guy here that they'll just lean on again, and a couple of touchdowns. No, wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no. 12.6K, you're not too bad. What do you reckon about Ramondre Stevenson this week? Last week, what is he? Fumble, drops, all these sorts of things. Do we have faith that he'll come back into the volume, or will he be on Bill's naughty list? To me, I wonder if people will be scared of him, and it could be a nice little 12K GPP option if he's got the low ownership.
Yeah, I actually think Patriots as well. They'll be they're pushing for playoffs here. If they beat the Dolphins this week, then that puts the Dolphins at 8-8 and puts the Patriots at 8-8. This is a must-win game for the Patriots. So. Yeah, Ramondre's their offense, when they get going. So look for that questionable tag to disappear, or at least they'll push for him to play. So I really like Ramondre this week. I think this is the week he bounces back, and hopefully people are off of him.
All right, wide receivers.
We talked about Justin Jefferson. Anyone else at the top here that you're a fan of, Arch?
Look, Hill's always in play, even though it's at New England. But to me, and I don't know, but you're really interested to hear your thoughts of this. This is my thought process anyway. Carr's gone. Jarrett Stidham is in. A 4-year quarterback journeyman who's never made a start. But Devontae Adams has talent, and no one will want to play him. We look at those last 3 weeks. 16K, do you go there, Rowan, as a GPP play?
I just... that's how I feel.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just interested as a more of a game theory play anyway. Like, obviously, there's a high risk, but if he gets there, like, you know.
Yeah, look,
right.
there's a possibility.
Yeah, maybe he's not.
If I'm playing Devontae Adams and he gets there for me, then I'm probably playing Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, maybe. All right.
Anyway.
AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Are they just like the new kids on the block for Hill and Waddle? Are they just them, but like the next version?
Oh, in a way. I mean, Hill and Waddle are the new kids on the block for Hill and Waddle. But AJ Brown, I think, and Devontae Smith.
Man.
Yeah, it has been. I think Devontae Smith, though, is like he's finally priced where he should be.
Yeah. What a price jump. That's a 3K price jump in a week.
But that last month has been superb. But yeah. He could be good again this week. Gardner Minshew just peppered him. Oh man.
Yeah. Minshew double stacks if that's in play. Like
Yep.
if Minshew's playing all day.
Definitely. I forgot I don't know if I said this with Philly, but Philly have New Orleans first round pick, and so we want them to lose badly so that we can get potentially a top 5 pick. So
yep. Love that little piece. What do you reckon value wise?
look, I'm looking here at look. Let's do our value of the week. Let's do our value of the week.
That's what I like.
That's what I like to do.
Inconceivable.
DJ Moore is our value of the week. He is priced here at a very, very nice sub 9K, $8,360. He has been playing over 94% of snaps just weekly. He is leading, I think, all wide receivers in snap share. This is a must-win game as well for the NFC South because the NFC South is trash. And someone has to make the playoffs from the NFC South. And so, for some reason, for the Panthers up against the Buccaneers, it is still open. It is still open. And so Darnold, he's been looking capable enough to feed more with 73, 83, 103 yards in 3 of the last 4 weeks. 3 touchdowns over the last 4 weeks as well for DJ Moore. He's the offense. In terms of the air, he is the offense. So DJ Moore is our value play of the week. Just got to do it, hey?
I love my DJ Moore. Thank you very much. Wearing the Maryland jersey. Not his number, but, represent.
That's it. Another guy, Rashid Shaheed.
Yes.
I love this guy's name mostly, but his price is delicious. At $6,800. He's running more routes than Olave in the last 5 weeks. He is earning 3.3 yards per route run, which is second of all wide receivers in the past 5 weeks. He's worth a shot. Especially if you're playing a Philly piece. I love bringing it back with a cheap Shaheed. So they're my favorite values at wide receiver.
The story writes itself there, Ron.
Exactly. Let's move on and at the top. Now, Evan Engram against Houston he's priced up, but he's had some phenomenal weeks the last month.
Yes.
And I wouldn't fault you for doing it. I wouldn't fault you for playing Evan Engram. So I don't mind him in terms of just what he's doing. He's carrying a lot of the offense, and if he's not getting touchdowns, he's getting yards. And then against Tennessee, he does both. So against Houston, who knows what he's going to do, but it should be decent. George Kittle, we talked about Christian McCaffrey, and it looks potentially like Deebo Samuel is not going to get back in the team this week. With Deebo out and Purdy in, Kittle has been just massive. Just 4 for 93 and 2, 6 for 120 and 2. Look to Kittle again. He's a nice price, really, if Deebo is inactive. Raiders are 27th in defending explosive passes over the past 5 games, which is pretty much Kittle's bread and butter. He's a yards up to the catch king. So Kittle is probably my favorite tight end for this week.
Yep.
Values, though, Arch?
Yeah, look, let's just go from more expensive. Like Darren Waller is, who else has Stidham got to pass to? More of a security blanket type thing there. So I don't mind you going to that. We're talking about Waller, who's, all last year was, up at Kelsey levels price-wise, right?
It's true, he was.
But you know me, I like to go real dirt cheap on the tight end land. You like Conklin?
Against Seattle, yes, especially with Mike White playing. You weren't going to mention Juwan Johnson either, but I really like Juwan Johnson against Philly.
Yep.
As well.
Look, there's lots of pieces. There's actually quite a good lot of choice at 5K this week. So I'm probably going to spread out, fairly wide. First one, Logan Thomas at 5.2K. 89% routes run last week, 0.25 targets per route run. Volumes there. Wentz returns. How you feel that changes things, I don't know really, but they're looking for a spark. And Logan Thomas can do some things if he's got the volume there. Zylstra we've already talked about at 5K, and I'm pretty keen to play a lot of him. This one just shocked me that he was 5K.
Yeah,
Tyler Higbee.
Why?
Was that a mistake?
Surely that's a misprice.
That's a misprice, right?
Surely.
Look, so this is where the ownership's surely going to land, right?
Unless there's news that I haven't read.
Unless people just don't see Higbee. They just, they don't even cycle down for Higbee thinking, oh, he's not on this slate because he's not in the sort of 8 to 6K range. To me, this is like an overlook here.
Yeah,
but
it's stunning.
I'll still sprinkle him in. like, he's 5K. Higbee and Zylstra are my 5K guys, I'll be honest. That's probably all I'm going to play. Last week, 89% routes, 0.44 targets per route run. But he's Baker's guy.
Yeah, big time.
How's Higbee 5K?
I don't know.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
No, that's right. Nah, love it. All right, quickly move on to defenses.
Yeah, defenses. I hate defenses. But anyway, let's talk about them anyway. Look, Kansas City versus Denver. You said, look, onslaught, Kansas City, and they're throwing their defense as well. I think, it's what might be worth paying up for, but probably popular as well. The other popular one is probably San Francisco. Facing Stidham. Low point total. Turnovers, opportunities galore. Give me some San Fran at only 6.1K. They're probably going to be your chalk defense this week.
True. I mean, unless you're like a normal distribution nerd, you want this to be like a 1 or a 2. San Francisco should have a day out against Las Vegas. So they're a great pick. In terms of the value, look, I was going to say the Raiders before all this news came out, but look, could Purdy just have an absolute mare of a day? Then that was the question mark there, but I'm going to avoid that now. Cardinals, though, sitting there at $4,580, and they're playing against Desmond Ridder, rookie quarterback, nothing else going for them. So don't mind playing them. I don't mind playing the
game.
Pardon?
JJ Watt's last game or last home.
Yes, that's right.
Second to last game. He's coming towards the end anyway.
It is coming towards the end, but either way, get up for a Waddy. Los Angeles Rams absolutely monstered Denver last week. Colts sacked the Chargers 4 times last week, and the Rams sacked Russ 6 times last week. I'm just looking here and going, I think the Rams could be a cheap enough option, especially with the Chargers not having to play for too much as well. The Rams defense could be wanting to, make a point. I feel like Jalen Ramsey still is out there and he still just wants to have a go your mug kind of type thing. So anyway, the Rams. So don't hate the Rams this week as well. All right, Arch, it's our favorite time of the show.
Yes.
It is time to build a lineup. We're stacking Goff, right?
I think so.
It's my favorite.
How heavy do you want to go? 2 pieces or 3 pieces with him?
I think I'll just go 2. So I'm just happy with the Amara and the DJ Chark pieces. That's probably
not Zylstra. Or do you want to bring it back with Komet? To me, I think that's going to be too popular.
Fair call. All right, let's do Zylstra one.
And we get stuck, we might even add Chark at the end anyway. Or do you go Chark and Zylstra and just go real, cowboy there?
That is real cowboy, but I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Let's put our premium play, Chris McCaffrey, and let's put our value play, DJ Moore. then how far down I have to scroll for DJ Moore. It is ridiculous. Anyway, that gives us with the tasty $10,600 remaining. In terms of DST, do you want to pay up, or do you want to like play San Francisco, or do you want to get lower?
Let's put just San Fran in for now.
Sure, we can change it.
All right, what do we got? 12K going the way. What do you? Do you want to go ETN or do you want to go cheap? Connor. We haven't mentioned Connor, but the volume's there against Atlanta.
It's true. Pacheco is probably the guy I want to get to here over Denver.
All right,
and that gives a nice money
Helps.
left to play with here.
So we're not going to go the primo guys.
No, I think. Well, we've got Christian McCaffrey in. He's my primo.
Yep.
I'm happy to play that. What do you think about Garrett Wilson? And we're close to. I actually don't really want any of those top guys anyway.
We've got room at defense. Don't forget, we can always pay down.
That's true.
AJ Brown's good. I like that.
Oh no, there you go. I like
Philly pieces. All right.
Philly pieces. All right. Yeah, cool.
Yep. Good.
All right, there we go. Something to think about. Actually, there's plenty of options. Plenty of options this week. So, I like it. But I think my stack pool's going to be lower. Like, I'm usually playing like 7 stacks in the micro. I think I might be down to 4 or 5 this week in terms of my stacks.
Yeah, in the mini, I'm probably only going to go 2 quarterbacks.
Yep. No, fair call. Well, Arch, it's been good. Yes, CMOS. We're back, boy. We're back.
Yeah,
and,
thanks for saving me for the last 5 minutes.
That's it. If you want to see CMOS' ugly mug, then jump onto the end of last week's.
When it got good.
Yeah, that's right. Dear. And as we learnt last week, if you were, it's Gamble Responsibly 1-800-858-858.
Yes.
But yeah, if you want to jump on, guys, and join us on Draftstars, bit.ly/join Draftstars. Hit our contest up at bit.ly/TFL week 17. Thanks for the ride. It's been fun, everybody. And yeah, 2 more weeks of regular season football, and then hey, playoff football. Can't wait for playoff football. It's gonna be great. Arch, it's been fun.
Absolutely, as always.
As always. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time.